They told him not to fight. His doctor looked him square in the eye and warned him the pain would be unbearable, a constant, searing agony with every move he made. His coach, a man who'd been in his corner since he was a teenager, threatened to throw in the towel before the first bell even rang. "You're a fool, kid," he'd said, his voice thick with concern. "This isn't bravery, it's madness." But he had already made up his mind. The decision wasn't made in his head. It was made in his heart. He was stepping into that ring, broken rib or not. The roar of the crowd was a distant hum as he made the walk. Each step sent a tremor of pain through his side, a grim reminder of the doctor's words. He tried to breathe shallowly to control it, but the adrenaline was already pumping. He climbed through the ropes, the canvas soft but unforgiving beneath his feet. Across the ring, his opponent bounced on his toes, a picture of health and confidence. He looked hungry, untouched, unbroken. Our fighter, on the other hand, felt like a porcelain vase that was already cracked, just waiting for the final tap to shatter completely. When the bell rang, the pain wasn't a gradual thing. It was instant, a white-hot flash that ripped through his torso. Every breath he sucked in felt like swallowing a shard of glass. It stabbed, it twisted, it burned. Every jab he threw, every time he pivoted on his feet, he felt like his entire chest might just collapse inward. The fragile bone grated, and a wave of nausea washed over him. He had to hide it. He couldn't let his opponent see, but it was too late. Predators can always smell blood. His opponent noticed it almost immediately. A subtle wince, a slight hesitation to breathe too deeply. That was all the invitation he needed. He started targeting the body, not with wild swings, but with precise, punishing shots. A thudding right to the ribs, a digging left to the liver. Each blow landed exactly where our fighter was most vulnerable. The impact echoed through his very skeleton, a percussive beat of pure agony. Our fighter tried to guard, to shell up, but the shots just kept coming. By the end of the first round, he was gasping, not from exertion, but from the sheer effort of containing the screams that were clawing at his throat. His coach was shouting instructions, but they were just noise. The only thing he could hear was the frantic pounding in his own ears and the sickening crunch every time a glove made contact with his side. By the second round, it was getting desperate. He could barely lift his hands to defend himself. His arms felt like they were filled with lead. His vision started to blur at the edges. The thought of quitting, of just taking a knee and letting it all end, was no longer a whisper. It was a siren's call. It promised relief. It promised an end to the torment. His body was screaming at him to give in. Just fall. Just stop. It's not worth it. He was stumbling, backing into the ropes. His opponent moved in for the finish, a look of grim satisfaction on his face. The end seemed inevitable. But then, in that moment of near surrender, he let his eyes drift past his opponent, past the referee, and into the sea of faces in the crowd. And he saw him. Just one person, but that one person was his entire world, his little brother. The same kid he practically raised after their parents were gone. The same kid who would watch him train, eyes wide with wonder, believing his big brother was a real-life superhero, invincible and unbreakable. He saw the look on his brother's face, now not of wonder, but of fear. A raw, terrified look that mirrored the pain he was feeling. He couldn't quit, not now, not in front of him. He couldn't let that image of his hero crumbling be the memory his brother carried. Something shifted. It wasn't physical. It was deeper. A switch flipped inside his soul. He tightened his jaw until his teeth ached. He let the pain wash over him, not fighting it anymore, but accepting it, embracing it as a part of this battle. He pushed through the agony, drawing on a reserve of strength he didn't know he had. He stopped fighting like a man trying to survive. He started fighting like a man who refused to break. He pushed off the ropes, his eyes clear and focused. The pain was still there, a raging inferno in his side, but it was no longer in control. He was. The third round began. His opponent, sensing the shift but not understanding it, came forward with the same strategy, aiming for the body. But this time, our fighter was ready. He didn't just block, he moved. He slipped a thudding right hand by a fraction of an inch. The punch whistled past his ear. In that split second, instinct took over. The years of training, the thousands of hours in the gym, it all came down to this one perfect moment. As his opponent was overextended, our fighter pivoted. He didn't think, he just reacted. He uncoiled a perfect left hook, pouring every ounce of his will, his love, his desperation into that one punch. It connected flush on the jaw. The sound was a sickening crack that cut through the noise of the arena. His opponent's eyes rolled back in his head, and he collapsed to the canvas, out before he even hit the ground. The arena absolutely exploded. A tidal wave of sound washed over him, a deafening roar of victory, but he barely heard it. The moment his glove made contact, the adrenaline that had been holding him together vanished. The dam of pain broke. He fell to his knees, not in a triumphant pose, but from the sheer, overwhelming agony he had been holding back for 3 brutal rounds. He clutched his side, his face contorted in a mask of pain. The fight was over, but his personal battle was just beginning. As the medics and his coach rushed into the ring, he looked back out into the crowd. He found his brother's face again. The fear was gone. In its place was awe, pride, and tears of relief. He managed a weak, blood-stained smile. That night, in that ring, he didn't just win a fight. He didn't just earn a purse or another tally in the win column. He proved something to his brother, and more importantly, to himself. He proved that sometimes the strongest fighters aren't the ones who are untouched or unbroken. Sometimes the strongest fighters are the ones who are already hurting, the ones who have every reason to quit but choose to stand and fight anyway, because they're fighting for something more than just themselves. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing for more. We'll see you in the next one.